that's
beautiful.
Tickle.
That's the thing of beauty.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it.
All right. Well, this is for the boys.
For the boys, ladies and gentlemen.
Came before us, that'll come after us, and that'll fucking keep fighting for our freedom.
Amen. Gentleman's Jack, ladies and gentlemen. Woo. Social therapy. Welcome back. I'm not sure where we are in the episode count, so it doesn't matter at this point. We just have awesome guests after awesome guests. This is Zach Smith. Most of y'all in Overton will remember him in high school, as I do. Skater man. Dude could bust a move on a skateboard. Always had people's backs. He was a good, friendly guy. Love him to death. Always have. We got a little class clown. But once we got through the high school phase and into college, I only seen you once, and that was when you busted your axles at a skate park coming out of, I think it was the east side of Athens, and I seen you walking down the road, and you waved at me, and I was like, Zach! And you was like, Chaz! And I stopped, picked you up, and drove you to wherever it was you had to go. I can't remember exactly where it was. But since that day, you and I have stayed in touch. Since that day. Yeah. I don't know what or how, but I appreciate every moment of it, bro. Because you've been on a journey, and I've been able to just tag along as a third party. Yeah. So after high school, I'll stop there. Because honestly, dude, you got your own repertoire of things that you could list off, and I'm not even going to try.
All right.
I'll leave it to you.
Basically, we'll start this way. 11th grade, I went to Crossroads for a year. It's a bad boy. Bad boy. I had threatened the principal, to some dumb shit one day.
Was that Hig?
That was Heartline.
Heartline, okay. Yeah. I didn't remember what years it was.
Yeah. Last day of school, I had my skateboard, and I'd finished my end-of-course test, was wheeling through the halls, She's like, get off the skateboard. And I'm like, hey, this is my way home. Like, you can't tell me nothing. And she was like, nah, get up to my office. And I was like, nope. She's like, well, I'm going to call 911. I said, good luck, because the SRO ain't here.
Right.
And at the time, the SRO was Brandon Dye, my cousin, my dad's side.
So that's how you knew the ESO, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I got you. And, I was curious. I was like, I never knew when
So I ran outside, and lo and behold, I see the Crown Vic pull up with the sheriff's office letters written on it, and he catches me, and not like I was running from him.
Right.
But, walks me back up to the office, and she takes my skateboard, and he's standing behind me. I pretty much say, like, hey, look, I'm gonna come get my skateboard, or my dad will come get the skateboard if I can't.
Right.
She's like, no, nobody's gonna come get it. And I was like, well, I guess I'll just blow this fucking office up then. So I made a terroristic threat, and she charged me for it, and he handcuffed me behind my back, and I made the joke to him. I said, hey, can you handcuff me in the front? And he's like, why? I said, because I'm about to take off, and if I trip, I'd like to catch myself, So if I'm trying
class clown,
just being a stupid little 16-year-old kid, And so anyways, after all that said and done, she said she wouldn't press charges on me if I went to Crossroads, because I was lacking. I wasn't going to graduate in 2009.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was 8 credits behind.
I'll be honest, I didn't know any of this happened.
Actually, I was 12 credits behind, and when I went to Crossroads, everything was on the computers. So I'll give you a little hint for, if any of you young kids are watching, or anybody who
and it's the same.
might go to Crossroads later or in the future. It's just clicking away, and then you have the test, and it produces your answers at the end.
And then you go back and take the test again.
Yes. Work the system. But you didn't hear it from me. So I went there and got all of my credits plus 4.
Nice.
And then come back for 12th grade year, and talk to a recruiter. And I was 17 at the time, so I had to get my dad to sign the papers. Sergeant Burgess. I don't know if any of y'all remember him. He was a bald dude. No. And then during that whole transition period from him recruiting me, then it got switched over to Jason Kedlish, because that guy went and did I think a tour of duty or something overseas, where Afghanistan. I don't know.
Word.
I haven't heard or seen of him since.
So your original recruiter was deployed in a way, and you had to stick up with somebody else and then take off into your career.
Yeah, Sergeant Keblish.
Did he take care of you and get you where you needed to be?
Man, I done told him. I told him. I said, I don't know whose end it was the miscommunication on, but I did 3 years of JROTC.
Right.
And when you do that, when you enlisted, or at least at that time, you were supposed to go in as a private first class. And that paperwork never got submitted for me. I went in as an E1, as a fuzzy with just some little ball hair on my chest. Didn't even have a patch with mosquito wings or nothing. So I was not like tragically upset, but I was just like, damn, this kind of sucks ass,
What was that for?
So. What?
The whole 3 years of doing the JROTC.
Oh, yeah.
The prime.
Yeah.
What I prime for.
Yeah, and then I think I came back, or I did like my last semester and I did JROTC. So I had like 3.5. But anyways, a lot of the people that I was on the Raider team with, we didn't get along well, or there was, just animosity between us. Like they were more of like, I guess you would say like the popular kids and more fit, more athletic. I was just good at doing the far side on rope bridge, and that was about it. Running, kind of sucked at it. Specialty
guy.
Yeah. So, I enjoyed it, but it is what it is. So I was like, fuck this, I'm going to do the real thing.
Yeah.
And that's where we then get into 17 years old, dad signing the papers, graduating on time, thank God. And then, 4 weeks later, got shipped off to basic.
Where'd you do basic at?
Fort Sill, Oklahoma.
Oh, in the months of.
I got there 4th of July weekend.
Oh, nice.
Summer.
Nice.
It was Heat Cat 5 every day, which pretty much you had to take your blouse like on your fucking coat, and roll your sleeves up, and then roll your pants up so it would allow airflow in there.
So you wouldn't die.
So you wouldn't have heat casualties, which there was still a thing.
Right.
People still heat stroking out, like left and fucking right. You got water beads on your uniform. Each little bead signifies a quart of water. You got 10 beads on there. If you're not at a certain amount of beads at a certain time of the day, the drill sergeants will smoke your nuts off and then force you to drink water. This was 2009.
Bro,
so.
You are educating me right now. I know nothing of any of this. Beads on your shirt indicated how hydrated you were by how much you had sweated throughout the day, and if
yes, and color charts in the
oh God, dude! I didn't know they did this.
In the latrines based on your piss color.
How about that?
Yeah, so it's like 4 yellow colors, and it's like if you're above this line, you're fucking hydrated. Maintain it, and then if you're below these lines, you need to drink more water. And if you didn't have, like I said, a certain amount of beads, then they're like, hey, well, you're going to fucking get
pound
smoked.
The water.
You're going to get smoked, and then you're going to be drinking this. We're going to make you drink the water.
Yeah.
Because that's what they thought was corrective action at the time.
Right.
And, all of my stories that I can remember from basic, I think were pretty fun, I had a blast there. I didn't think it was hard.
Your personality type actually, but you're, again, when you skated, I don't know if it's just skaters or if it's like a mentality type for people that are willing to go through pain to accomplish a thing. Because there's a lot that you're willing to do to get the goal that you're aiming for.
Yeah, so, I've been through hours upon hours of punishment that I just put myself through.
I can imagine.
Trying to land a trick. And I don't know if you remember back when I want to say you was in the art class with me when I broke my foot.
Yes.
Because I broke it and I didn't think it was broken. And I walked around on it for a week and it started turning black. And I remember Amy Jefferson was in there with us and she's like asking like why I'm limping. I showed her my foot. I'm like, it might be broken. And it was black.
Oh,
she's like, I ain't no doctor, but yeah.
You might
want to get that shit checked out. So,
yeah, dude.
So yeah, I did, and it was sure shit. It was broke clean through.
Wow, and you've been living on it for a week, dude.
Yeah.
Wow.
And,
again, that a testament to like you going through basic and not thinking that's that big of a deal. You walked around for a week with a broke foot.
Yeah,
it is a thing.
Doing push-ups and sit-ups and Y squats and jumping jacks and flutter kicks for hours upon hours that was just amusement for me.
I feel that, dude.
I mean, at that time, sure, yeah, I'm probably like sucking during that moment, but I look at it now and I'm like, that was a great time.
It wasn't that bad. Right.
It's something we call resiliency.
Yeah.
That
you get used to it.
Yeah, that mental fortitude and resiliency that you just get built from like punishment after punishment after punishment.
I mean, it's on some baby shit, but cold showers is what I've been trying to do recently, just going through the shock therapy of like actually dealing with it. But I've never been in like, I mean, I did baseball. I did Hell Week in college. I did all that kind of stuff. But I've never been through military Hell Weeks or surfs suck. You know, having to lay in the surf and the cold and the shit like that. I ain't never had to do anything like that.
Yeah.
So I admire gentlemen that are willing to go through the fortitude. Like Goggins is somebody I like to listen to a lot. Yeah. Michael Goggins, do you follow him? David Goggins, David Goggins. I follow him. I was just listening to his podcast earlier today.
Yeah, have you read or listened to his book, Can't Hurt Me?
No, I haven't.
His autobiography is phenomenal.
I bet, dude.
He doesn't hold back anything in there, and I won't say it here just because I want to somewhat be politically correct, but the N-word, he is using the N-word in there a lot, referring to himself, what people called him, because he lived in a town where it was a bunch of racists.
Yeah.
And then that building him and forming his mind into like the machine that it is to this day. Correct
me if I'm wrong. Did he not become one of the first black men that became what he became, a Navy SEAL? Okay.
I think so.
Okay. I don't know if he was the first or one of the earlier.
I know, and I want to say he was also the first Navy SEAL that went to Ranger School as well, like in the Army. And you got there's a difference between Ranger School and Ranger Regiment, what some people may or may not know about. So to clarify that, Ranger School is a leadership course that the 4th, 5th, and 6th Ranger Training Brigades facilitate. You got Florida, you got Fort Benning, where they do Benning phase, which is 20 days. Then you got Mountain phase, which is up in Dahlonega. And then you got Florida phase, which is down in, I don't know where, Florida, because I didn't make it that far. And yes, I went, but I failed. So I have some unfinished business to attend to.
Hey, bro, do your thing.
So, but a really funny story of why I failed. And we can get to that. But, so yeah, you have those 3 schools. That you graduate, you finish all 3 of those essential portions in the.
You're good, dude.
Yeah, fucking TBIs, dog. So
you're good.
I tell you, TBIs in Afghanistan. Apparently, I got 10 back in December that I didn't know about. But
you'll never hear me stop you as far as like worry. Like you're good. It's stages or the third leg of it. I guess is the way to put it.
Yeah, that final phase. You finish all 3 of those phases, and then you get your little Ranger tab.
Yeah.
So it's like, cool, you get a little fucking Ranger tab. It's like a little 50-cent piece of fucking cloth that a lot of people in the military believe in our line of work in infantry and combat MOSs, that if you don't fucking have, you're not a good leader.
Ooh.
But guess what? I've met people that don't have them.
Phenomenal leaders.
Phenomenal fucking leaders.
Yeah.
That might not even have shit on their chest either.
Right.
Because I don't wear any of my badges or credentials or anything like on my chest either.
Right.
Just to leave that fucking mystery there.
Yeah.
Like I'll wear my fucking combat patch, but other than that, it's.
You have no idea.
Yeah. I'm like, I want people to just fucking.
Respect given, respect earned kind of situation. That I appreciate that. Because I got another buddy. I don't know, Brian Smith. He went through. Brian.
Oh yeah.
He went through. Cousin?
Okay,
so Air Force. He and I are good friends now. We got close when
let's put some respect on him. Major. Retired major.
Yeah, I was trying to get him to come do it, but he was like, dude, I might say something I shouldn't. He was like, I can't trust myself. Yeah. I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
I think he did some secret squirrel stuff.
He did.
Probably can't talk about.
He did. And he's a great guy, and he's a great family man, and he takes care of everything at his home, and he's just wary of his country. Like, he's very concerned about everything that we have going on as well. So he's hyper aware of those things. So he's conscious of when he speaks to me, what I do and where I'm at and all that stuff. Because he trusts me, don't get me wrong. But I would never force him to come on here if he didn't want to. But I would love for him to come on here and talk to me, dude.
Here's my thing. I love this fucking country. Let me tell y'all something as far as freedom. You think United States is in a shit show right now? I mean, guaranteed it's not. You know, all the countries I visited this past year, even, you know, years prior, the freedoms that we have currently, even under the current administration, is phenomenal. And you won't find that anywhere else. You won't find the you know,
quality of
life just, you know, even though it might seem like shit here, you know, phenomenal.
It's not. You got to get out of the country to understand that, though.
Yeah.
Like, you can't get that perspective. Or even get into worse parts of the country. I won't lie to you. Even here in our little Northeast Georgia cubbyhole, I've been in other parts of the country, like down in South Louisiana or some places in Texas that I've been that are, like, way worse off than we are. Like, just, you could tell, I mean, places like Detroit. You hear, I've never been there, but there are places in our own country that are way worse off than what we even deal with here.
But the place I was a week ago, Killeen, Texas.
Killeen,
yeah, it is. I mean, I wasn't even back in the United States for a week, and I had police knocking at my door at the hotel.
Wow. You suspicious? Are you a suspicious character, sir?
Another story to get into for later. So, I've been on that side of law enforcement too. You know, I was with the Overland County Sheriff's Office for a little over a year and a half, whatever the time frame was, before I deployed, and I've served those types of felony warrants where it was warranted to have a gun out.
Yep.
And this instant, I'm just getting back from the Middle East, and there's two in my face. I'm like, I'm just in my underwear, dog.
Right.
You know, trying to chill in my room.
Right.
You know? Welcome
home.
Yeah, it was a fucking kick-ass welcome home.
Yeah.
So we laughed after it and whatever, but so yeah, the going on that long rant and getting back to like Ranger School.
Yeah.
So then you got Ranger Regiment, the 75th. You got 5 battalions, I think now. There might even be 6. But the first 3 are the infantry battalions, which are the ones most people only care about because those are your fucking pipe hitters.
Gotcha.
You know, there's the one fucking, you know, slinging freedom to all of the terrorists, ISIS, you know, whatever other bad guys there are that need eliminating. You know, so they have what's called option 40 contract when you enlist. And so that pretty much gets you infantry school down in basic down in Fort Benning, and then gets you infantry school, which is like followed right up after that.
Yep.
After graduation, you go to airborne school, which is right down the street. Yep. You learn to jump out of planes for 3 weeks. Then after that, you go to RASP, which is Ranger Assessment Selection Program, which is also in Fort Benning. So you're going to be spending a lot of fucking time in Fort Benning. That's where my unit is now. So I'm very familiar with the area. I'm on Kelly Hill. You know, it's a shittier part of Fort Benning, if you will, but I love it. RASP is 8 weeks. You pretty much just get your dick smoked off day in and day out. They're putting you through the ringer of, you know, shooting, moving, communicating, because you're going to be operating at a Tier 1 unit. You know, like that's the thing.
You'll have to educate me. Tier 1.
Okay, so anything like Ranger Regiment, Special Forces.
You and a small squad entering a situation where there could be...
Tier 1 being like, you know, is special operations.
Special operations, gotcha.
Yeah. And you even
Black
have
Book type stuff?
Like Delta Force.
So don't talk about it later.
Force. Yeah, well, the Delta Force is like a little bit higher up on the tier. Like you couldn't even, I guess, classify them. Maybe we would still classify them Tier 1, but
right.
But they're doing mainly hostage rescue and, you know, sensitive site exploitation, stuff like that. You know, high level executing, and they're probably only working in like 2-3 man teams.
Right.
You know, those
small circles.
Those are the real pipe hitters.
Yeah.
And they might just be walking up and down the road. You wouldn't even know.
That's typically what I've heard. Like, you have no idea who these people are, and they even don't carry themselves in such... I mean, but there's some folks that just look deadly. I ain't gonna lie to you. There's some folks that walk down the road and you can tell, like, all right, that's not somebody I can mess with. Mm-hmm. Like, they've got a different demeanor about them. Your demeanor has changed since I've last seen you, and it's just because you've been through a lot of life. Like, you don't carry yourself the same way as the guy that hopped in my car when we were going through Athens and just hanging out. Like, you've grown, you've matured, you've learned a lot of shit. Like, it's cool to see, man. It really is.
Yeah. So they at RASP, they pretty much they graduate from RASP and then they get assigned to a Ranger battalion based upon their MOS. If they're 11 Bravo, it's going to be one of the three. If they're any other combat MOS that's in direct support of infantry, they'll be assigned to one of those three. So I also have a secondary job, which is fire support, which is what I first joined as. So that's called talking on the radio. The mortars, field artillery, aircraft, close air support, naval gunfire, which I have never done, which would be awesome. I dropped a lot of bombs in the country I was just in a few months ago, like a lot, like the first month I was there, mostly training.
Right,
so,
okay. I was just curious. I have no idea what, I didn't know if I could even ask, to be honest with you. Like, what you over there, what you getting into?
Yeah, so because the job I'm in now is training other armies to do
so
their
you
work
educate other militaries now.
Yeah, I'm essentially a fucking teacher now. Yeah.
Dude, look at you.
I fucking
look at you.
I teach foreign security forces how to fucking army.
The big bang. I hear you, bro.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you, man.
Because we're fucking tired of doing it for them.
Look, it's got to be somebody else's job eventually. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, it was basically... What happened was Special Forces was designed to do this job. That's what they were built on. Go into Vietnam, link up with the local guerrilla force, train them how to shoot, move, communicate, airfield seizure. They operated with them, they lived with them, they executed it, and then they worked themselves out of a job. They become better. And then Special Forces have been doing that for the last 20 fucking years in Afghanistan.
And it just never got to the point of us being able to pull?
And it was never going to work. Or if it does work, COIN, counterinsurgency. I'm going to use a lot of...
and it's going to blow right on the top of my head, and that's fine.
A lot of acronyms, and I'll try to, when I say them, I will try to explain.
The reason this is a podcast is that later I can go back and be like, what was the CIA / I'll find it, don't worry. If you can...
COIN.
COIN.
COIN is a counterinsurgency.
Counterinsurgency.
Yeah. So counterinsurgency was the big thing in Afghanistan, Iraq, Afghanistan. So Special Forces just got fucking blew out, like overwhelmed with that. And so then General Milley in 2018 decided to create a unit specifically designed like for that, for that mission, for
educating,
interoperability and training foreign security forces, and doing that whole. And so they made 5 active duty units throughout the United States, and then 1 National Guard unit, which is the 6th Brigade, which is the one I'm in. Their headquarters for the National Guard one is in Illinois.
Okay.
And then you have all of the battalions throughout the state. So like 1st Battalion, which is the infantry battalion, we're down in Fort Benning.
Gotcha.
And then you got an infantry battalion and a what are they called? They're pretty much infantry, or what they like to call themselves. They're like, yeah, we're infantry. They're 19 Deltas, Cav Scouts.
Cav Scouts.
So Cav Scouts, what Jesse Holman was.
Okay.
And if he watches this, I want you to know, you ain't shit. But but that's for another day.
I haven't seen her talk to Jesse.
I
haven't seen her talk to Jesse since we graduated, I don't think. I talk to Jeff Bell every so often. And then I only catch him on like Discord or around and about. He was doing chef work down in Atlanta, cooking. He's got an interesting story. He traveled around with some bands and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. Catching up with him when I moved back to Overton.
Yeah, Jesse was at my house last night.
Sure enough.
I
haven't seen Jesse since high school.
That fool brought me Fireball, and I hadn't drank Fireball in over 10, 12 months, and
It didn't settle with you?
No, yeah, the second shot didn't. Made it halfway down, and I just... It He's like, man, the sink's right there. I'm like, I'm not going to throw up. I was like, it's just hitting my gag reflex, dog. Like, it's just, I was like, it ain't
It's
me.
like syrup a little bit.
I drink this.
Gentleman's Jack.
Gentleman Jack.
Jack, if you ever see this and decide that we just need to have this on hand,
please sponsor us.
hey, holla at your boy.
Sponsor me. Sponsor Chaz.
Social therapy, Zach Smith.
Therapy.
I'll keep him going. We can keep talking. Don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have it on hand at all times. But yeah, coin and a many other acronym that you're going to go throughout the process of this. But you do counterinsurgents training.
Basically, it's just now it's interoperability with foreign security forces because we're in what you would call a competition phase. So we're not in a crisis anymore or a conflict with another country. So we're going into these countries that aren't a part of NATO, and we are competition with the other superpowers of the world, Russia, China. So let's take UAE, for example, one of the countries I was in. Heavy Russian influence, heavy Chinese influence. Who do we want them to partner with as far as if we want them to become part of NATO, or do we want them to be trained and supervised under one of the other world powers?
So is there delegates making decisions on who has these spheres of influence before it ever even becomes a thing?
Yeah, about 50 levels higher than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all in the makings before it ever gets to the point.
Yeah.
I mean, you always know, but
money.
at the same time,
It's money.
from somebody that's within the inside, having said it, it's crazy to acknowledge.
Look at UAE, for example. 80% of their money comes from oil.
Yeah.
And then they're now also transitioning to tourism because of Dubai,
Right.
Abu Dhabi.
Building
They're
islands
becoming
off the coast.
very modernized as far as
You
the
been in
city
Dubai?
and country. Yes.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Did you get to
Khalifa.
Did you get to see I guess it's the electrical gardens or whatever it is? It's like the trees that are like solar panels, but they're like fucking. Yeah, see, okay, I was just curious.
I went to the Burj.
Science magazine shit,
Yeah, I went to the Burj, went to the Grand Mosque, the Presidential Palace. Grand Mosque was really cool. I'll tell you, this is the ridiculous how much money this country has, and especially the one guy, the sheik that paid for it all. He wrote one check
for all of it.
for all of it, and they have marble floors throughout the whole. I don't even know how big of square footage it is. I'm just talking. I mean, it's called a grand mosque. So just imagine a huge fucking mosque. Their pillar, they have pillars of nothing but marble.
All white.
All white.
I bet that was beautiful, though.
Blue pearl.
I bet
lots
that was
of
beautiful.
blue pearl flooring.
And you being from Elberton and knowing that shit, bro, I'm not even gonna lie.
I'm looking at them like, man, that comes from Scandinavia.
You know?
And I'm like, oh man, like that's that cat eye right there.
That Elberton education paying off, baby.
And like, but I ain't seen none of that.
Yeah.
Elbert blue or
none of that blue over there.
So,
I don't know if they don't like the color. We'll figure it out. We need to start shipping it to them. They pay more for it, I guarantee.
Yeah, I made some contacts over there that I'm gonna
holla at me.
Gonna be reaching out to them soon. Like as far as any type of granite works or anything like that. Just
Holla
trying to
at
get Elberton on the map.
Need to be, man. That's good stuff.
Because they got money over
I know
there,
they do.
and they ain't afraid to spend it. And they're the same with their army. So,
Is their military on the come up or been on the come up? Or are they like...
Their military is dubbed the Little Sparta of the Middle East.
No shit.
So, yeah.
Didn't know that.
The units that we taught, I could speak on real briefly because it's not, I'm not down on them or anything, but I think they, just because they don't have the right amount of people training them, or since this is very new, we've been doing this only for the past year now, coming in there, trying to set up.
So what you're doing is almost brand new.
Yeah, well, as far as in that country.
Right.
And in other countries, it's already been established,
Yeah.
And it's just easy to come in because you already have those contacts with the knowledge point people, the liaison between the whether it be their Air Force or their Army.
It's already
or
chain
land
command,
forces.
and people know what's to be expected, and that shit.
And they're just bringing you in, and you pretty much ask, like, hey, what do you need?
Mm-hmm.
Normally, what it would look like is we go in there, we're a maneuver advisor team, what we call a MAT. So we're all pretty much infantry. We got a medic on the team. We have our commo guy. We have the position I was feeling for it was fires advisor for the close air support and all that stuff, integrating ground and land forces, maneuvering and stuff. It probably one of the more technical.
I was about to say,
jobs.
you like got to make sure
I
you
don't
don't
know how the fuck I got that job.
I was about to say,
I did not score that good on the ASVAB.
So you're the guy calling him, and I'm not trying to make a joke of this, but broken arrow on the.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Broken arrow is like the last thing.
Last resort.
Do.
Yeah.
Yeah. But definitely like my job basically like old school way. Look at a map, compass, protractor. Plotting points on there.
Where am I at?
I'm right here. Oh,
Yeah.
the enemy's right here. And they get on my radio. Hey, you, this is me. Fire for effect, over. And then
give them coordinates.
Talk to them. Or if I'm talking to an air asset and I got 2 radios and coordinating ground, I'm like, hey, this is me. Talking to the pilots, yo, dog, what's up?
Yeah.
Because they talk like
different.
They talk like bros.
Yeah.
They talk like bros. These dudes over here talk like fucking robots, and I hate it.
Yeah.
So, I'm like,
once you get up there.
Hey, yo, I need some fucking bullets down here, dog.
Yeah.
Like, for real.
It's a problem right now.
And they're like, where you at? And I'm like, here's my location.
Please don't hit it.
300 meters north of me, danger close. We got some gunfire in the tree line, and I need a fucking gun run, like east to west reciprocal. And that means either way. So, and they're like, all right, cool, bet. Mark position. So I'm like, fucking mark my position, maybe with like smoke or something. And then, I'm like, hey, 300 meters, that's in front of that.
So this is the way my brain works. I wonder if the enemy has seen that in a number of times and know when they see that red smoke, they're fucked. Like they have no shot once their enemy has marked themselves, if that makes sense. Because that's the way my brain works. Like if I seen that from their side and I seen red smoke, I would be like, all right, we're done. We're done here.
It depends on what like if it's a jet or if it's a helicopter.
Gotcha.
Helicopter
Timing.
Fast movers, it's like a jet. You're
done.
Yeah. I can tell you right now, rockets are the scariest thing. We was in a few rocket attacks briefly last year when we first got there, and
you were under attack.
Not us specific, our base.
Your base.
Our
Okay,
base.
okay.
Yeah, Iran likes to play fuck games, so but they suck at shooting. So fuck you, Iran. Anyway, so yeah, like the Air Force base where we was staying when we had just been there maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and so we didn't know how the fuck the Air Force operates when it comes to any of that because we didn't have guns.
Yep.
We didn't have.
Why?
Because it's not our job to
put people down.
Well, first off, like
you're not there to hurt people.
Yeah, and first off, against a rocket attack, a gun ain't gonna do shit.
Much.
That's like
Fair.
That's like shooting a BB gun at the sun.
Fair.
It's
Fair.
like okay.
It just would have made me feel better holding it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I got to hold my gun once.
While you were there?
6 months.
Wow.
That's crazy.
I guess for a guy like you, that's actually a weird sensation having to go that long without it.
That was weird.
Because I pick up mine like once every 6 months, maybe.
Because Afghanistan was every day.
Every day having to defend yourself.
It's sleeping right there with me.
Yep.
So.
That's a different mindset to have to exist in, man.
Body armor. But, being in Afghanistan, like, with like Crocs and booty shorts and getting a gunfight, and it's like,
It's almost like you're paintballing, but with a death threat on it.
Or sitting there, doing other things amongst my phone and Wi-Fi, and then my squad leader comes in. He's like, "Hey man, like they're out here shooting. Like if
you want to get in on this,
come." And I'm like, "Damn, all right."
Yeah.
And like I was a team leader, so I had 4 guys in my squad. My machine gunner, my 203 gunner, and then one of my riflemen. And I was like, "Hey, y'all awake?" They're like, "Yeah, okay, like let's go do some things." And I took a selfie that night, and like the whole. I don't know if you remember the feeling cute thing. People would like take it, or like I guess videos or something, like feeling cute might.
Might go do something later. Like, yeah. I do remember that trend.
So I'm like, so I'm out there and I have my helmet on with my nods because it was nighttime, you know, and they were shooting, and we got up on the wall, and me and Posey, and I was like, you know, feeling cute, might fucking shoot ISIS later.
Did you post that?
Yeah, no.
Did I see that?
Maybe.
I don't know if I've seen something of the sort.
Like
I said, I've been trying to follow along, and it's so weird to hear these stories from your firsthand experience now, because when you said you'd ended up being like, now you're instrumental in going in and training people and teaching others to do these things that you've learned how to do. But watching you, like when I contacted you and you were in South America, I can't remember how long ago that was. Can't even remember what year that might have been, but all of the steps that you've taken leading up to where you are now, it's almost like was it intent? Did you plan on ending up where you are? Or did it just so happen to end up being that way as every step you took and it ended up taking you that direction?
No, I'll tell you what I wanted to do and what I didn't do. So the original plan was to join and go into Special Forces.
Mm-hmm.
And then that didn't work. Not that it didn't work. For one, like I said, I just didn't score high enough. And like that young of an age, I didn't really give a shit about, you know, all I really cared about was getting in.
Yeah.
Getting in the military, learning something, and then going somewhere and applying that skill.
Yep.
And then the older I got, you know, the more I started thinking like, okay, and then as you know, life happens.
Yep.
So
I do.
2 years into being in field artillery, I transferred down to the Puerto Rico National Guard. I don't know if
I did not know that.
If you knew this. Yeah, my mom lived down there pretty much since her and my dad divorced when I was 2 or 3. And I knew she was living down there because, hell, I went to see her right before I went to basic. And I get down there, and she met a guy on online dating or some shit.
Yep.
And was like, hey, I'm moving to Jacksonville. I was like, well, fuck.
Yeah. Why?
So
stay.
I was like, fuck it. I guess I'm going to be staying here by myself for a little bit. And then I went to that unit. Pretty much like my first drill there, the first Sergeant Rivera, he called me up. Only guy in the formation with the last name Smith, and he's like, hey, you know, presentate. He's like, in Spanish, he's like, present yourself. Present yourself. In Espanol. And I say, okay, I will try my best, because I was learning Spanish. I was in Spanish in school.
Yep. Gordy?
Yes.
Hey.
I don't know if he was in the class with us when I got my ass whooped.
Nope, I don't think so.
I got an ass whooping from Coach Colquitt when they brought the paddlings back. I think I got about 20 or 30 that day. I come back, I mooned the class.
Actually, I might have been in that class.
Miss Gordy kicked me out.
Me and Nick used to get in trouble for talking the whole time.
She low-key liked my butt.
Hey,
it was cute back then. I squat now, what's up? So, yeah, I got kicked out, and, you know, anyways, end of course, shit come around, and she knew my mom. I found this out later, but, like, she knew my mom, and,
oh, wow.
You know, she had helped my mom get a job, like, at the hospital when my mom was living here. Anyways, so, but yeah, end of course test, I just wrote my name on it, turned it in, because I was already, like, I made a 30 in the class. I was like, even if I make 100.
It doesn't matter.
So I turned it in. She was like, are you serious? I was like, I mean, yeah. I was like, why would I not be?
Right.
You know? So I was like, I don't need this credit.
Right.
Which I actually probably fucking did.
Hey, but at the time you was just done with the whole deal.
So yeah, in Puerto Rico, been there for about a month. I had been practicing Spanish. I had dated a girl from Puerto Rico. So I was picking it up pretty good. I presented myself in Spanish. I was like, hola, mi nombre es Zach. Yo soy de Georgia. You know, mi trabajo es 13 Foxtrot. Yo soy artillería. Blah, blah, blah.
I had you for the first 2 lines, and after that, you got
and
me.
I used the most gringo accent, dog.
Yeah.
Like, so, I can, like, now, like, I can kind of twang it out a little to the Puerto Rican slang.
Yeah.
You know, because that's just what I know.
Right.
And it's, a lot of people like the way the Mexicans speak Spanish versus the way Puerto Rican.
Not
This
the
is
same.
different. It's different.
Yes.
And it sounds completely different. The dialect. So I spent 2 years down there. Come to an end when I got a gun pulled on me.
Oh, bro.
Yeah.
These stories get so abrupt, so quick.
Bro,
I'm just hanging out in Puerto Rico, all of a sudden, guns in my face.
I'm hanging out. Yeah, like I'm hanging out at my house.
Jeez,
'cause I was working on base at Fort Buchanan, at the commissary, and this girl I knew, she invited me out to go drink and dance. So I was like, yeah, sure, let's go. And we go. I'm parking over in this little alleyway. There was a light pole above me, and as I'm getting out, I see a guy walking up to me, and he's asking, he gets up to me, he's like, "Tienes cigarrillo?" He's like, "You got a cigarette?" I was like, "Yo no fumo."
Yeah, I don't smoke.
I don't smoke.
I don't smoke, bro.
Pero tengo fuego. But I got lighter.
Right.
I got fire. And as I'm going to reach for the lighter, and I look over, and it's like,
gun.
I said, "Fuck." He's like, "Salte de carro." Get out of the car.
Yeah.
So I get out of the car. He's like, "Hand me your wallet." So then what do? I resort to speaking English. "Hey, man, please don't shoot me.
Yeah.
I'm just here for a vacation.
Yeah.
I got family back home."
Right.
My sister, brother, blah, 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 whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Dame tu chavo. Estoy bien aborrecido de todo. No me importa un carajo." He's saying,
I don't give a fuck.
He's like, "I don't fucking care."
Yeah.
He's like, "I'm just so fucked up right now." And he's like, "I'm pissed." He's like, "Give me your fucking money and it's going to be done."
Okay.
And it's like, I had a bunch of ones because I worked for tips at the commissary. So I gave him like this fat stack of ones. And he probably fucking thought like
jackpot.
He was getting it. And in my mind too, even though I hadn't really done much in my time in the military at that time, I was like, I could probably beat this motherfucker's ass. Like
I could take this guy.
I could probably take it. And I was like, I could probably beat his fucking ass, take his gun. If I had to shoot him, I would.
Right.
But something in me was just like, no, don't do it. And so
here's the ones.
I gave it to him. I told him if he wanted my car. He said no. And he told me to turn around. I turned around and he fucking pistol struck me in the back of the head, pushed me in the car, and took off running.
Did knock you out or did knock you out?
Well, it hurt.
I'm sure it hurt like hell.
Yeah.
I was just curious if you...
I was just kind of stunned.
Okay, I didn't know if it blocked you out and you woke up in the car.
Because I was like...
I've never been pistol whipped, so I had to ask.
Because at first I'm like, oh shit. I was like, this motherfucker just shoot me?
Yeah.
But then I was like, damn. Like, okay, well, I'm just bleeding a little. No big deal. And then I run down to the club where the girl was at. I was like, hey, this just happened. And he took my phone and my wallet, my money. I pretty much don't have anything now. I called my dad that day, and my dad bought me a plane ticket back home, like
pronto.
4 days later. And I still had to go back a time or two to like turn in gear to that unit and to kind of leave on like good terms. But yeah, it's a great place to visit. So don't let that story, freak you out thinking like Puerto Rico is just.
It was just one night in a dark alley on a bad guy's dude had a rough day.
I mean, if you are in Puerto Rico and you show up in the wrong spots, you will get guns pulled on you, and you will be asked questions. It's not. It's
military.
It's a different world. No, it's a different world. La Perla, which is one of their.
Yeah, I was about to say, where is this at? In case I ever go, so I don't go.
Old San Juan, so it's one of the most ghetto. How you say caserío in English? Is one of the most dangerous ghettos.
Okay.
In Puerto Rico and the slums.
What do they call the blocks in New York? It's like 5 of them. The boroughs, like a borough type shit.
Yeah, or like how they have favelas in Brazil.
Okay.
Or stuff like that.
I got you.
It's just like houses on top of houses and stuff. Yeah. So they're you walk down there, they don't know you. You will get a gun pulled on you, and you will be asked to fucking leave. If you're not there to buy drugs or something or spend money,
you're not supposed to be there.
Get out. You're not. You aren't local.
Gangland.
Yeah.
That's crazy,
it's real.
Bro.
So anyways, come back here to Georgia. Got back in the infantry regiment out of Winder, and then that's where I started to transition into like wanting to get into doing more high level technical stuff.
Smaller team unit.
Yeah. So we had a scout platoon, reconnaissance, sniper section there. I was still in field artillery, and the platoon sergeant at the time, he had just got done with. He was in 3rd of the 75th Ranger Regiment, so he was a special forces operator, and he worked for Blackwater when all of the kind of not so good stuff that Blackwater did.
I've heard that name before, and I'm not sure in association.
It's like government contracting.
Gotcha.
And they were doing like armored, like escorting money, like anything involving money.
Gotcha. And getting big money to do it.
Yeah, mercenary stuff.
Yeah,
mercenary work.
Merc work.
Yeah, merc work.
Merc work.
Merc work.
Gotcha.
And so I went to him and was like, hey man, I'd like to try out for the team. And that's
a real cool way of putting that, by the way. I'd like to try out for the team, bro. That's tight.
Yeah. In a respectful way.
No, absolutely.
Parade rest, like this, you put your hands behind your back when you go to somebody of higher rank than you. I was a sergeant at the time, and he was an E7, sergeant first class. So I was like, hey, sergeant, I would like to try out for the team. And he's like, okay. He's like, here's the dates or whatever. Don't be late.
No
It's
shit.
like packing list. Here's what we're gonna do. He gave me everything I needed to do up front. There was nothing hidden.
No guess games.
Yeah, I was like, all right, this is what I got to do in order to pass. Other than the oral interview at the end, and I'm like, I'm a pretty good talker.
Mm-hmm. I was about to say you're doing pretty good.
I'm not good at talking in front of a lot of people.
Yeah,
I can handle small classes.
We can have conversations.
I can handle small classes, and when they're third world country classes. And I have an interpreter, even better, because I can say shit and they don't understand. And
just tell the interpreter to figure it out.
And he's like, how do you say that? And I'm like, you know what? Probably better if you don't say that.
You know what? Redact that.
Yeah. Let's just
redact
that. And he's like, they'll laugh. Okay, so yeah, that tryout consisted of first thing in the morning, like 04. Because, the fucking Army loves waking up at the ass crack of dawn, because that's when the Indians strike.
Is that what is that? I know that's just joking.
It's like Rogers Rangers,
Rangers.
Yeah, standing orders thing. So it's like, you get up early because at dawn is when they French
strike.
and Indians attack.
Gotcha.
And so if you're up before them, you're already anticipating their attack. And you're already ready.
Can't catch a man sleeping.
Yeah. So wake the fuck up early.
Yeah.
And if you wake up early, it builds resiliency, and you have a more productive day. You're able to. You're doing something already hard first thing in the day, versus it's Saturday. I can sleep till 8 o'clock, or I can wake up at 4 because I'm just accustomed to it, and
deal with it.
I have 4 extra hours to do things. And David Goggins speaks on it.
Yeah.
You
get more out of your day.
Jocko.
You're factually getting more shit out of your day. Yeah. It's the way it works.
Yeah. Kids are still sleeping, or whatever. You can go meditate for an hour if that's your thing. You can go and
I need to start working out because
do some calisthenics. I mean, that's
unintentionally, bro. These past when time shift changed and they took that hour away from us, it fucked me up this year. I don't know what it was about this year specifically. Before now, never bothered me. This year, I started waking up at 5 a.m. after that shift, and I've been doing it ever since. Unknowingly, not trying, just up at 5 a.m. and I deal with it. It wasn't the first week. I was a bitch. I was mad. I was like, fuck. I was mad, dude. Yeah. I was like, why am I up right now? Because my kids are still asleep, just walking around the house. But now I started making use of that time. I got used to it. So now it's just become accustomed to what I do. And I feel like I'm turning into an old man, quite honestly.
Well, because then by the time like 9 or 10 o'clock rolls around, you're like, Daddy's gas. Daddy is gas. Daddy wants to sit down and relax and like fall asleep in the chair with the kids or something.
This happens now, and I'm like, when did I become this guy?
You ain't like, oh man, it's 10 o'clock, let's go out and do something. Like
I used to be looking for something to go get into. Now I'm like, kicking it.
So
that's so funny. It transitions that way.
So started out PT test first thing in the morning, 270 or better. Back in this time, it was 2015. the Army hadn't transitioned to this new age fucking PT test that they got now, which I think is still fucking stupid.
We'll touch on that if you want to.
Yeah. Push-ups, 2-minute push-ups, 2-minute sit-ups, 2-mile run. So I think I did like 80 push-ups in 2 minutes, like 85 sit-ups in 2 minutes, and I ran, close to like a 13:30 2-mile. And I was never good at running.
I suck at running. Long distance.
That was, like I said, that was 2015. I was doing fucking CrossFit and, a lot more fit, a lot smaller than I was. So I had a really good engine on me, not as much muscle, where now I have, or like I had a bigger gas tank on me, where now I just have a bigger engine and a small gas tank.
Got you.
I can't go that far.
But you can get it done.
I think the furthest I ran in the past 9 months was probably in Texas, from here to like the front door of the hospital, trying to beat like 100 soldiers getting in line for their physical.
Nice.
And I was first in line. I was like, I'm not fucking waiting.
I am first.
And I was gassed. I'm talking about I was wheezing.
If you ain't first, you last.
I was wheezing the rest of that day. The doctor checked my lungs. She's
Are you good?
She said, "You good?" I was like, I mean, yeah. She's like, "You're kind of wheezing." I was like,
"It was a rat race to get here, fam. Leave me."
I was like, "Yeah, I know.
Leave me be."
I was like, "Look, I'm not that fit right now. I'm kind of fat." She's like, "I don't think your weight has anything to do with it." I was like, "No, but it most certainly does.
Right.
It most certainly does." So I passed it. Second thing we did was a 12-mile ruck, 45 pounds dry. So ruck march, big huge backpack on your back. For those of you who don't know, any of y'all who probably seen some fucking weirdo running up and down the 4-lane with a big old pack on in the past, probably was me.
Getting ready
for it, or it's a thing we do in the infantry world. We have to do it once a year, 12 miles, 3 hours or less, 40 pounds dry. And usually we have to do it with a weapon. So I'll run up and down the 4-lane, just smoking my nuts off.
Dry? That's the part that's catching me.
Dry, okay, so yeah, dry is 45 pounds dry. That means everything excluding your water.
Got you.
Water. So then, like, you have your Camelback or your 2-quart water canteens, which
that's
adds
another 5 pounds.
5 pounds. So
yeah.
You're looking at 54 pounds in total. And if you suck at packing or you overpack, you're looking at closer to 60. I don't know. Trick to the trade, if you will.
I'll have to get that from you, because I hike backpack.
Because you want to put all your weight up on your shoulders. You don't want it.
You don't want it low
pulling you back.
I did get educated.
You'll be leaning forward. I mean, you get a great core workout, and your traps and shoulders will get worked out great. But it's if you can make it easier, then why wouldn't you?
Right.
Take the extra time to
don't make your day harder
to pack. Yeah. So, so I did that 12-mile in 2 hours 34 minutes. Well, I pretty much ran it the whole time.
Now my second question is, why do y'all do that once a year?
It's like
physically must have to do like standard, or is there like okay, I didn't know if it was tradition. Some dude ran with the Olympic flame.
Yeah,
with
so
a ruck on.
Just like every year, whether it be in law enforcement or the military, you have to qualify with your weapon. There's certain things like that our job we have to do that other jobs throughout the military might not have to.
Gotcha.
So where they're like, all right, fuckers, like it's time to go do this 12-miler, and you better hope you've been training for it.
Right.
Because I've done it not training for it, and I've never not failed or never failed, but I have been to the brink of like mile 10, and my body's shutting down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, as we call it, going to meet the wizard.
Yeah.
Because you start getting tunnel vision, and you can't hear stuff, and you're just like, I might not make it.
Yep. Your blood starts fading.
This is the end of the line, because your body will start shutting down really fucking quick, and you will just tumble over. Next thing you know, you're getting silver bulleted up your ass, and that's
what?
Yeah, silver bullet.
I'm ready, dude. So, I'm ready for this one. What's up?
Silver bullet, man. You get a thermometer up your asshole, because that's going to give it the best reading on like your core temp.
Yep.
So We had a guy.
And if you're overheated, they're gonna know.
Yeah.
Okay, this makes sense now.
We had to air evacuate a guy out of the woods in Louisiana during one of our rotations there for a month, 28 days. I think we was maybe. Ooh, it was maybe 12, 14 days in, and then that 28 days too, what makes it really rough is like we're sleeping on the ground, no tents, in the elements. So hot, cold, rainy, whatever it is.
Whatever it is,
we're just there. You're just there. It's not like you're dry. And you ain't getting showers. I ain't showered. The longest I've been without showers is 40 days. So.
Wow.
And
do you hit a natural? I'm not even gonna lie. Do you hit a certain point where your body's just like, you know what, bro? I'm at a point. And just
you get to a point where you're like,
or do you just not notice it anymore?
This feels great.
You just get to a point.
Yeah. And I was a big advocate on or even the military is a big advocate on personal hygiene and stuff. But it's crazy as fuck when you do shit like that. You can't.
Yeah.
And
you don't have an opportunity.
They make you fucking shave every day. And the only reason I'm growing out this nasty trash stash is because, for one, I can.
You can.
And I can't grow a great beard. But I fucking...
have you ever tried?
I have.
Really?
Yeah. I'm gonna get the fucking some beard growth kits and shit and fucking.
I don't feel like you need it, bro, because you got just as much thick hair as I do, and I let mine ride.
It's patchy sometimes, but
my shit's patchy, bro. Don't worry about it.
Or
let that shit go.
Or I let the cat fucking lick my face. Fucking dip my head in some whole milk and just
hold your head outside.
Yeah, but yeah, so dude passed out, heat casualty, and our team medic, who was also a nurse in the emergency room. I mean, he's great. Joel Pageant, fucking phenomenal dude. He's done some hood rat shit, not only in his civilian life, but also in the military overseas in Afghanistan, saving dudes. Gunshot wounds to the fucking head, like the 10th
and
group,
patching them up.
10th group guys, yeah, special forces dudes just getting fucking dinged in the back of the head, and like they're still shooting.
And he's
just over there like, oh, hold on. He's like, they're like, hurry the fuck up, man. Like, yeah, like he's doing some hood rat shit. So he fucking runs over there, pants down, silver bullet, fucking thermometer right up the ass. It's like, oh shit, 106.
He's dying.
His brain's fucking cooking.
Yeah.
So we hop on the radio, call in the Casevac. They come out there, shoot down to the jungle penetrator, pick him up, haul him off, take him off, so.
The jungle penetrator. Dude, there's so much cool terminology happening in this conversation that I'm just latching to. My brain hears it and it's like, fuck yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Two things got penetrated that day.
Old boy that passed out.
Old boy that passed out and the fucking jungle. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So.
But okay, so silver bullet is so they make sure the brain's not cooking in their head, and then they get them immediately evac up out of there.
Yeah.
Only one casualty?
Only one.
Okay.
I have been very close to that point of heat exhaustion to where I had to get an IV, and I played with it. This was primo. This was before we deployed to Afghanistan in 2018, and we had been out running ranges and stuff all day, and then we get back and I'm just like, ooh, I don't feel good at all.
Something's wrong.
And Joel comes up to me. He's like, hey man, you need to drink some water. I was like, do you got an IV on you? He's like, I don't. I say, well, there's only one other way, and it's called the Ranger.
Up your
Ranger
butt.
IV.
Up your butt.
So I boofed it.
Yep.
I boofed it,
Well, I know. All right, so it's not because of drugs, but that's the most absorbent tissue in your body. That's just where it takes it fastest.
I took a 500 ml in about 5 minutes.
I'm gonna get some more of this gentleman's jacket.
Yeah, but go ahead.
I'm gonna get a
You're
little
gonna need it. You're gonna need it.
That was
You're gonna
awesome.
need it. You're gonna need it because the stories only get wilder as we get into pre-mode to Afghanistan and the shenanigans that happen between the infantry companies throughout the battalion. It's gonna get good. It's also, this is not for
This ain't for kids.
This ain't for kids.
No.
Don't let your kids watch this.
All right, so I put disclaimers out, like I usually let people know, because sometimes I put it on Facebook. Like me and my brother's first episode had a lot of cussing. He knocked the light over the first 30 seconds. It was hilarious. He was cussing.
That shit had me rolling.
I'm glad somebody enjoyed it, because it made me laugh. He was mad, frustrated, because I had all these, we had way too much stuff going on.
Yeah.
But when he knocked it over, he was like, stop. I was like, bro, don't worry about it. I'm going to leave it in. Like, I ain't even going to cut it out. I'm going to let it happen.
It was great.
I appreciate it. Authenticity is what we're here for. Yeah. But this is good, dude. Yeah. Like, I'm loving it.
So, Boofed and IV.
Yeah, sorry. I didn't mean to break that out of the transition.
Yeah, Boofed and IV and, it's funny because...
Got hydrated.
Well, yeah, and had instant diarrhea.
Oh, wow.
Because,
I didn't think of the aftermath.
Yeah, like, so if you fucking suck up an IV through the vein and the blood runs back through, you get the little pink Kool-Aid, So then I almost soaked all the 500 mLs up, but then some didn't take, and it started leaking back out, and it was what I would now call or dubbed chocolate milk.
Nice.
And then my stomach started feeling
was
better.
Was it embola? Wait, there's a word for that.
Enema.
Enema. Thank you. You had an enema.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Hydrating enemas.
So I got hydrated, went and shit the rest of the water out. Felt great right after.
Life.
Took some Motrin, changed my socks. That's the running thing in the fucking army.
Change your socks, take some Motrin.
Get shot in the fucking face, and they're like, I don't know, man. Change your socks and take some Motrin, drink some water, take a knee.
That's awesome.
And it's like, oh, but I'm dying.
Yeah.
Like
my heart's stopping.
Yeah,
oh, you're good.
Like,
change your socks.
My leg's blowing off. I'm like, take a knee on the other one. It's like, fuck. Like,
U.S. military, man.
Yeah.
I love it.
Just a bunch of fucking retards.
I love
it. So yeah, and then getting into more stories from that primo before we went to Afghanistan. So we started out sharing a bay with one of the other companies, Charlie Company.
Okay.
And for whatever fucking reason, these cocksuckers think that they are like God's gift to the world, because they are just, they got like some of the more senior leaders and...
Is that where people try to promote to? Or get drafted to, or get enlisted to? I don't know what the word would be.
The funny thing is that's where we send all of the shitty soldiers to.
Wow. And they consider themselves high cotton?
Well, because the leadership there is actually really good. Or they're a bunch of hard asses, so they turn those dudes into fucking...
decent soldiers.
Yeah.
So it's a catch-22. You got the best leaders with the worst...
Because then you have people like us that were in Bravo Company, where we're literally called black sheep, and we're super proud of it. And, we're black sheep for a fucking reason, because we like to fuck around when it's time to fuck around. But when it's time to do fucking work,
you get it done.
We're doing work.
Yeah.
It's no more fucking around like we're throwing bullets
at things. We got a job to do.
Yeah. So
that's awesome.
We have a fucking bar at Bravo Company, Black Sheep in Covington, Georgia, like at the Armory. So it's like the Armory, its own building, own personal bar. So like after drill or during drill sometimes,
that's your spot.
Things get a little fucking, everybody that's deployed with them, they have a fucking plank on there. You signed your name, whatever, you go and get your fucking drink, do your thing. But so we're sharing a bay with Charlie Company, and these fuckers put tape on the ground showing that this was their side.
Oh,
and these top 6 or 8 bunks, whatever the fuck it was we had, because it was only like 2 fire teams. It was like
they quarantined y'all off, bro.
They was like this is y'all's side. Stay on y'all's side.
Oh wow.
Like, okay, you fucking losers. They even put in duct tape, Charlie, like Seco 1121.
They taped out their name on the ground?
Yeah.
That's cute. All right, I better stop before somebody in the military comes and finds my ass. I ain't in the military. I need to shut up.
Funny? Nah, fuck them. fuck Charlie Company. That's all I gotta say. Even to this day. So, except for one person, Jonathan Barrett, I fucking love you, dude. I know you're down in 7th Group right now in Eglin Air Force, Special Forces.
So he's done.
He fucking did
transition to the big boys.
He did it. He's in the big leagues now.
That's awesome, man.
So, and we talked about it, and I talked to him while I was deployed, and they operate down in South America, donde están hablan español. So I've thought about transferring, but another story for another time.
Decisions.
Yeah, decisions.
Possible decisions.
Yeah, because now that some other things in the personal life we talked about
right
are happening,
you may be able to open
may
yourself
or
up
may
to
not.
do other things.
Yeah,
That's awesome, man.
yeah.
Like finding likes and doing what you want to do.
So, Jonathan or Barrett, Barrett come over there, and I was like, man.
So he was there at.
Yeah, he was.
Okay, so that's where this name come from. He was at the location.
He was in Charlie Company.
Okay,
He was the only dude I liked.
I was wondering where he came from.
It's the only dude I liked at the time, and I fucking go over there and I kick their tape. I was like, you fuckers. So I kick their shit because,
that's what you do.
Zach likes to start shit. And, I fucking kicked their tape, and one of their little fucking sergeants, got all butthurt. He's like, you fucking dickhead. Like, that's not a professional of you. And I was like, first off.
Professional? We're putting tape.
You put tape on the fucking concrete to show, like, your side of the fucking barracks. I was like, what are you talking about? So anyways, it's funny as shit because he tries to fix it. I was like, man.
Oh, wow. He got on his hands and knees and tried to get it right?
Yeah.
Wow.
I was like, I like how you fix that tape, boy.
That's dedication.
Yeah.
Dedication right there.
I was like, fuck, man, just use more tape. I don't know. I was like, I fucked it up pretty good. It's just fucking duct tape. Whatever. He's like,
is what it is.
Like, you don't got any more duct tape? Damn. Poor bastards. So, yeah.
Budget's tight, man.
Yeah, budget is tight, especially for the guard. Can't do shit in the guard, dog. You think other places are broke. Like
guard.
Let's look at the National Guard, the lowest of the.
The one that's supposed to take care of the home place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've even done.
It's probably an argument.
I've even done like home front missions. Like when what I don't remember what fucking hurricane it was, come through South Georgia and wrecked that shit. Like we was down there for like a week.
I'm not even gonna guess.
But yeah, like we're just down there sleeping on the ground.
Wait, was there a story written about that where you guys were like 80 or 90 of y'all deep down there in one bathroom? It was literally y'all sleeping on concretes in like a parking garage or some shit like that. Was that y'all? That makes sense because there was I read something about how terrible we were treating our own military who were there to try to help. Because they only gave y'all like one bathroom and it was like a freaking 80 or 100 of y'all sleeping in a parking garage.
Yeah, even the guys that were up in D.C.
Same concept, same issue.
Yeah.
That's trash.
But look, let me tell y'all, as like the general public, when it comes to like us in the military and in the infantry specifically, they went to D.C. for the inauguration and everything. For security purposes, whatever it was. I didn't go. I want to say I was doing some other training at the time. And a lot of people were upset because there were soldiers sleeping on the ground and weren't put up in hotel rooms and they weren't being treated.
That's kind of what y'all are used to though, isn't it?
Let me tell you something. From the infantry world, if you get to sleep in a parking garage where there's cover and you get to stay out of the fucking rain,
doing good.
That's a 5-star.
Okay.
That's a 5-star resort.
We live, I don't want to say in a soft world because everybody takes that as like triggers, but I get what you're saying. Because even me, from a layman's, I'm like, do we not have enough military budget to take care of these motherfuckers while they're at home? Because they got to take care of their shit always at all times everywhere else. So can't we at least while they're here take care of them? But that was my thought process.
Yeah, that's me. That's for your like traditional guard unit that sole purpose is to drill once a month and do AT once a summer, 2 weeks out of the year. That's all they do. Maybe they don't deploy. The unit I'm in now is nothing but non-commissioned officers and officers. Mm-hmm. So E5s and aboves. The lowest officers I think we have are probably first lieutenants. So everybody volunteers to be there. There's a selection process that you have to go through.
You volunteer, but you got to make the cut.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you volunteer for it. It's a 3-year assignment. You have to go through a selection process run by, it was, when I went through, run by Green Berets up in Fort Bragg at the Naval Special Warfare Center.
Some hardcore shit.
At Camp McCall. They just smoke your nuts off for 4 days.
Nice.
And then they oral interview you, and you do a multitude of tests, physical and mental. And then they evaluate you. It's like, cool, hey, you're a good fit for this job. And then you get selected. You wear the brown beret, brown beret. Like, it's not that great. I got it. Maybe I'll bring it for like the next episode.
Yeah, buddy.
Look like a fucking tool wearing it. Whatever.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
We want you in uniform one time. Good sir.
Yeah. Well, funny. This was what I wore practically.
You are in uniform.
90% of the time in UAE or Jordan or any of the other countries I went to. Other than shoes, I would wear like Merrell's, or actually I wear Solomon's because you stack more bodies.
Solomon's stacked bodies.
Yeah.
Bruh, I gotta give me some Solomons.
Yeah.
I got some Merrells upstairs.
Yeah.
I hike, but I'm not.
Dump them.
Wow.
Get the Sollies.
Record. My mom being like, again, having gone through so much in her life and then turned out to be a decent human being. Mm-hmm. And then having that message out there for other people to be like, okay, if she can go through that and I have a similar or worse or slightly better or whatever, if she can impact this community that way, there's no reason that I can't. So I try to do things like that. That's the whole reason I do this. Like, folks like you, my friend, you are a prime example, not in that you came from like yada, 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 yada. But you've gone places. Like, you've experienced a lot more life than a lot of people in Elberton ever will get an opportunity to do. I will be honest.
I was a young bug at once, and I fucking hated Elbert County.
Elberton?
I didn't want to ever live here. And now I don't want to ever leave.
Well, you learn things as you go. Because I had the same story. I was like, I'm never coming back to this town.
Yeah.
Ever. And then my mom, got diagnosed, and my wife and I, or my girlfriend at the time, was like, okay, what we gonna do? We got engaged, we got married, and then we was like, all right, when we have a family, I don't want to raise.
Can I make a shout out?
Yeah.
To your wife's daddy?
Doc?
Yep.
Dr. D.
Dr. D, man, he helped me out a lot. Last year, the year before, with some health issues I had.
That's awesome, man.
He's a good man.
Look, a lot of
go
folks
to him and be like, hey man, like, this is what I got going on from the Army. This is what I got going on from my past, and he just.
I can tell you this from being his son-in-law. The man cares.
Yeah.
He genuinely cares. He reads medical journals every day. He's up on his science. He's not behind on anything. He ain't like you're talking to somebody that was educated and back in the day. He's current. He's very current.
And so since I left Texas last week, the reason we only had really 2 days of like medical stuff to go through, because it was like, well, since you're going to be coming off of leave, and in that month we have 6 months of transition period from being on active duty to get like all of our medical appointments and stuff. So it was like, if you have a primary care doctor, go and see him. So Dr. D, I'm going to be come seeing you soon. Making a lot of appointments through you, hoping you get me referrals to the VA so I can get me some disability ratings for the future, because I have 5 more years and 4 months before I hit 20, and I would go ahead and like to go ahead and get all that stuff in order. I'll have 20.
Really, bro? We'll be 37 then, won't we?
I joined when I was 17.
Bro.
I will be 37.
Why you got to do that to me?
Retiring
all right,
from my first job, dog.
I'll drink to that.
Yes.
Congratulations.
I told myself I was going to retire before I was 40. Didn't care how I did it.
I'm proud of you, man. That's awesome. But it does. When you said 5 years and a couple months, I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
20 years? Wow, dude. We've been at it for a while, haven't we? Look at us adulting.
I've been scheming since I was a teenager.
I hear you, bro.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy for you to have an idea of what it was that, at least, if you didn't know the grand scheme of it, you were committed to a thing at a young age. Like, you were like, this is what I'm going to do. Because it was my dumb ass that went through, all right, I'm going to play college ball. And then I got on college team and broke my collarbone, didn't play through my whole freshman season. They ended up not doing great. The coach got fired. I'm not talking, like, shortly thereafter. And they may have turned the program around. But as a young man that watched that team win 7 games out of 50-something, and I was like, I'm not spending the next 4 years doing this. Leaving and doing all that other stuff, like, I went to like 24 before I even started this adulting, getting better at life, figuring out how to actually do what you're supposed to do on the day-to-day. And even still, like the past 3 or 4 years has been just exponential. Like growth and trying to learn and trying to be a better human, trying to now better my community and do things like this. Like it's become more of, again, a labor of love and just being a better human daily and trying to make it a better place and not give a shit about anything else, man. Like it was more, and it's cool seeing you being like, 17, I'm doing this. And this is exactly what I'm about to do. And getting after it, bro. And yeah, here you are.
Who knew that when I was 17 and when you were 17, we were in school together, that we was going to be sitting here drinking Gentleman Jack in our early 30s.
Probably never would have guessed it. Because most of the folks, because in high school, you and I didn't hang out. No. We were around each other. We were always cordial. We always liked cutting up in class. Yeah. We never had beef or anything like that.
I try to be cool with people for the most part.
Well, you and I get similar demeanor. Like, I always want to leave a better impact. I like leaving places better than when I arrived.
I tried teaching a little bro how to skateboard. And that fucker, man, he just...
We're goofy.
He's like, and I think he got into girls.
Respectfully.
Respect. I get it.
I tried to do the skateboarding thing, man. I cracked my shins and busted my ankles a couple times, and I was like, I want to play baseball. And that was it. That was like the end of my stint.
Yeah, my feet gonna be not liking me when I'm old. So
look,
or my knees.
You just do the Goggins way.
Now I
just run until they break and then fix them. And keep going.
Now I jump off a sidewalk and my
hip.
back, my hip, like shit, like something fucking dislocated. So I ain't gonna lie, man. This is good.
This is all good stuff, man.
Cheers.
So
I don't know where we was really at.
All right,
before.
so I got you. We were transitioning. You had, obviously, we had talked about you being what you are now. We had talked about some of the work, I think, that you had seen done here in town as far as when you were working in the sheriff's department. Or were we off camera for that? We might have been off camera for that.
Maybe.
But I do know that I was going to ask you about your UAE experience and being in, like, Indiana Jones land. Because I want to know about that, not specifically, and if it does pertain to the military, cool. If it doesn't, like just asking you about your travels, like what was your favorite places? Where were you? What's your favorite foods from all your travels? Like I want to know your pop quiz questions.
Because I want to know
Daddy's
stuff like, a foodie.
I know you like to eat some stuff, bro. I want to know what you like to eat.
I got a little fat.
Nah, hey, bro.
So I love food. I love the traveling I've done through the military. I want to say, out of all the places I've visited, so Afghanistan was cool. Maybe in the time that I went, it was not that cool. The food was great. They make some really awesome barbecue pizza. The local.
I would have never guessed.
They use their doggies with their toes and feet to make the bread. They beat that bread with their feet. So you get the good old feet bread. Sounds disgusting? Hey. They clean their feet.
You live.
They clean their feet. I think.
You lived.
Even if they don't, whatever.
It was good.
I never got sick from the food, and that's on my life. Never got sick from it. The shish kebabs, their kebabs are off the chain. They do them different. It's not like you see on like a little wooden stick with like meat, onion, fucking bell pepper. No, this is like a fucking log of meat on a damn metal skewer that they're cooking over coal. And then you have their foot bread, as well. And so
I wanted to ask as we go real quick.
They don't use utensils.
Okay.
They're all hands. And the half Puerto Rican in me, I love to talk with my hands and like use hand gestures. So like if y'all see this, yeah. So you're taking like the meat and the rice. And you're just scooping that shit up with this fucking bread, and you're just slamming it, dog. Just yeah. Like
nice.
They don't understand the concept of a fork. They're like, this is fucking stupid. So you give them a fork, they're gonna fucking throw it. They're gonna fucking use their hands, and I mean literally use their fucking hands to eat rice. They're taking rice, and God gave us our hands for a fucking reason to eat food.
Utensils are a recent development from what I understand.
So yeah, the shish kebabs are awesome. They're like all the barbecue that they did. The lamb was my favorite. So I'm super into what what is it? The damn Indian food that's like
Curry?
Curry, yeah.
I got you.
I
I've
like
only had
curry.
lamb once, and that was in
I like
Belize, and it
curry.
was like slabs of lamb.
I like spicy food. If I'm not sweating, it's not hot enough.
Hey, bro, I could respect that.
I'm talking about like if I'm eating food and I'm
It
just,
better be hot.
I better be sweating. I better be struggling to eat.
I
If I'm not
gotta
struggling,
fight for this meal,
if
bro.
I'm not struggling, yeah, there was not enough struggle in this meal for me to want to continue to eat it. I'm like,
It's too easy. It's too easy.
Yeah. And then, so in UAE, a lot of the food was the same. A lot of the Middle Eastern countries, food is the same. So we went to UAE, Jordan. We had dudes in Kingdom Saudi Arabia, KSA. We had guys in Iraq, Syria. We sent a couple guys to Oman, to the country south of us.
I've never even heard of some of these.
I didn't get to go, and I'm so slightly upset. But in a way, I'm not, because that country's super expensive. They have this place. You can look it up. I don't know what the phenomenon is, but you put your car in neutral, and it's
Roll uphill?
roll uphill, dog.
I've heard of this. I've heard of gravitational anomalies.
Yes.
There's one in the UAE. There's one in Alaska. There's one. There was a guy, Geezer. Do you know Geezer? John Moon. He coaches softball. He's been a part of our community for a long time.
Yeah.
He went into the military at one point in time. He's the one that told me about this hill when he went to train for the military in Alaska. Couldn't tell you exactly. Maybe Anchorage.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a spot you can go up there, park on the hill, throw your car in neutral. You start rolling up it.
And it's not just like a slight roll. It's like
You
you're
roll.
going like 40 kilometers per hour.
You roll. All right, so you know we're in America. What's 40 kilometers?
Okay.
50?
Well,
55?
No, so I think 3 kilometers per hour is one. I don't fucking know. It's like 20, 30 miles an hour.
Okay, curious.
Yeah.
I
got some speeding tickets.
I'm
so
a
like,
DA. I'm not metric minded, so I have to ask.
I got two tickets before I left UAE. So I want to hit on that because, man, you want to talk about like tickets or like laws in driving in the United States versus other countries. UAE being the worst. They have a
Sure enough, I wouldn't have guessed that because they got the most money.
facial recognition cameras every
red light.
mile
Oh wow! Not red light, mile.
and red light.
Jesus Christ! So you can't even you can't do nothing.
When you go into the country, you have to immigrate, which is you go. They take your passport, they scan your irises, so they have your biometrics
Oh, you're
in
done.
their data.
You're done.
And if you want to get real technical, if you leave the country without immigrating out, every day that you are gone and you come back to that country, you're charged $75 a day.
Ooh.
So let's say, because I'm not good at math, I'm going to try and make it easy on myself. Let's say you're
100 days.
gone for 100 days and you come back to that country. You're about to pay
$7,500 straight out of pocket just to get back into the door.
Not just to get back into the door, but before they even allow you to leave again.
You trapped.
You trapped.
Oh, dude.
You trapped. You trapped.
Golly, man.
They all about their money there.
They don't play that game.
So let's look at it this way. All right, speeding ticket, $150. 1 mile, 1 kilometer per hour over, whatever, how the fuck ever you
However
say
it
it.
works.
The speed limit there, most highways was like 140 kilometers per hour, which I think translates to like 75 or 80.
I was about to say 75 or 80.
75 or
whatever it
80.
is, from the metric you gave me.
And then, so if you run a red light, not only is this going to take your picture,
Snapshot.
you're going to receive a letter in the mail. Or for us, like since we was on a military base, like everything we have is going through the embassy. And they thank the United States Embassy in UAE for taking wonderful care of us, and especially me and my tickets that I got.
They handled it before it got to you.
Yes.
Look at you.
Well, in a way.
Liaison in the military.
In a way.
Look at that.
We're ambassadors over there.
Look at that.
We were
Free.
special.
Yeah, you're free.
We special. There was only 12 of us, so
Oh, that's hyper. I would mention that. That's hyper specific. There's only 12 of you. I'm thinking there's 200 of you hanging out and doing this thing. There's 12 of you.
It's 12.
Okay.
It's 12. So you run a red light, take your picture, say $150 fine. You're going to get that in the mail. It's going to give you a date to report to jail. 30 days.
Oh, wow. We'll see you here at this time.
Yep.
Jeez.
You better go.
Jeez, dude.
If you don't go, they come find you.
They know where you're at.
They know where you live. And also, the one that really gets me, that's super wild, you ever get a little road rage?
I try my... All right, let me put it this way. My wife says
it's okay. You can.
My wife says
it's okay. You can get road rage, man.
I have a friend of mine that actually has road rage, and I don't compare the two. I'm not the same.
It's not like I'm not saying like a violent road rage where you're like, you motherfucker, like you put your shit in park, you get out and like want to beat the shit out of it.
I don't get that.
No, it's like, let's say you want.
I've done that.
Let's say you want.
I've given people one of those.
You want to give somebody the bird.
I've recently switched this because I have kids in the back seat, but I feel like it makes people feel worse. Like you're terrible.
In UAE. $7,500, 30 days in jail.
For flipping a guy off?
Yes. They have your picture.
You know how many people in America would be locked up tomorrow?
Everybody.
Everybody, bro. We flip everybody
off. Every major city.
We flip everybody off, bro.
Them streets will be clean.
Yeah, straight up.
Like, what happened to the traffic jams in Atlanta?
Where did Atlanta have? We dropped a good 75,000 people overnight. What did we do? Flipping people off became a crime, bro.
Yeah. They ain't gonna, yeah.
We play no games.
Struggling. Yeah. So.
How many times do you get that fine? Just once?
0.
Oh, I was about to say.
Because, man, I'm all about my money, and I ain't trying to...
They said, how much for that ticket?
No. That would have been a whole month's check.
Yeah, no.
That would have been a whole month's check.
Pass.
Yeah.
I'll keep my temperature under check just for that.
Mm-hmm. Money was good over there, so...
Did we say your favorite food? I know we touched on the tickets. Did you have a favorite food?
Favorite food was, like I said,
Was it the kebabs or was it the meat piles? The rice and the meat piles?
Rice and meat, dude.
Rice and meat.
Yeah. I love eating with my hands. I'm a savage. I get it from my mom. My mom loves, when she eats, she'll use her hands like, yeah, well, I might use a little fork here and there, but like for the most part, dude, like if I'm going in on like rice and bread and stuff, like some traditional shit,
trying to feel it,
I'm using my fucking hand. If you ain't trying to get the authentic experience, then what are you doing?
Why are you here?
Why are you here? Like if you go into a Middle Eastern country and you sit down and they give you bread and rice and some meat and they don't bring you forks because that's not a thing, and you're like, hey, would I like can I have a fork? It's like, just eat the shit.
No, you can't.
Yeah,
do they have them on hand just in case an American over there?
I'm sure they do.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I watch locals. I walk in and I see the old cat like shoveling food in his face with his hands. I'm not asking for nothing. I'm immediately doing that.
The third country nationals, like on the base that we were renting out of, like, they cook their own food, and when they sit down and eat, and they're eating out of the plate, they're just
shoveling food, bro.
It. I'm like, I'm all for it.
My brother would love it. Chaz Bray, that's how he don't use utensils. We'll eat steak. He'll pick a whole steak up and just start biting off of it, bro.
I eat steak with my hands, though.
Okay, you and my brother would get along. Y'all same. Steak. Because I'd be getting on to him for that one. I'm like, bro, there's a whole utensil next to you. He's like, no, it's better this way. He just eats it.
Look at these things that God gave us, man. It's like, oh man, it's free.
I'm telling you.
And you're doing the people that work in the restaurant a favor. They ain't gotta wash. All you gotta do is wash your little fingers.
How about that? We're actually saving the environment too. Look, there's we can spin this. We can make it a thing.
Yeah. We can adapt.
We can adapt.
We
got favorite food. I do want to ask you, did you have a favorite location? Is there a place that you stood that you thought to yourself, my goodness, this is a spot. This is a cool place to be.
This is what I want to say. And maybe I can...
And we can divulge this later on another podcast entirely.
Maybe we're
running on our 4:04 time limit. I just know that you have somewhere to be at 5. I probably got... Okay.
I'm good.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
All I got to do is make a phone call to my sissy, Carmen Smith. Love you to death. Thank you for holding down the fort down in Fort Sonia. You can pick up... She's just going to pick up the kids for me.
Just making sure you're where you need to be. I take care of my guests.
Make sure the babies are good.
Make sure everybody's where they need to be.
I don't have the picture on this phone. I believe I have it on my burner phone. And if you could somehow edit it into like a still,
That's what I do.
Right here,
That's what I do.
Petra, whether it be Petra or anywhere in Jordan, Mount Nebo, where Moses led.
Moses on the mountain?
Yeah, the Jews to the Promised Land. So I scaled Mount Nebo, and as we're up there and we're looking out, and you can see the Holy Land, you can see the Dead Sea, and I'm gonna be honest.
From a single point, you have all of these locations.
From a single point.
That's awesome.
From a single point, that mountain, and that's how I know, like, from not only a biblical standpoint, but just, seeing it with my own two eyes, like it's real. Like,
that's cool.
That's real. That was awesome. Petra was off the chain. We horseback.
This is Indiana Jones land for those that need to know. Like, this is the mount. This is the building in the mountain. The building in the cliff.
Yeah, Petra is one of the 7 wonders of the world.
Yes.
They built civilization into the mountains with just sticks and rocks, and it was crazy because I was like, how did these people? How are these people?
We come from granite land, bro. I'm immediately like, how did they cut in the stone?
How are they cutting into this stone?
That's what I want to know.
And then I'll tell you. So, like, I go around and I'm looking at all this, and I'm like, people are like on our team, oh yeah, they were aliens. No, they weren't aliens. I was like, I mean, these are pretty straight 90-degree cuts and everything. I was like, it's very, very interesting. As I'm sitting there at the end of our day, I think we hiked about 13, 14 miles that day. We only saw about a third of it because
that's crazy. I didn't know it was that big.
A lot to see.
I didn't know it was that big.
It is a lot to see. And I'm sitting there and I grab a rock from the ground, just a little Elbert County granite mine.
Yeah, bud.
And I'm like,
Can this rock cut that rock?
Can this rock cut this rock?
Immediately my first thought, brother.
So most of the rock there is like, I don't know what kind it is. It's red.
Mm-hmm.
It's red. It's soft.
It's not hard. Okay.
I took this rock and I carved my name in it in a matter of like 2 or 3 minutes. I poured a little water on there and was just
Yep.
Put a Z, put an S, 23.
Good enough. Yeah, it's there.
My name,
signature is there.
Hey, I don't know if it's illegal, but
we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, most of the folks that live in Petra, man, like, they don't got any connections to the outside world, so they're out there peddling. I had little girls, 2 of the cutest little girls that I met there. Their mom has like their little store. They're selling handmade rugs or handmade dresses and stuff for just a couple dollars.
That's cool.
So that's because they have so many people coming through there, and they're just like, hey, like, help,
that's their livelihood.
That's where they live.
Yeah.
And yeah. So it was wild. And then the other place, which was the Jordan River.
Tell me a little bit. Yeah.
The baptism site where Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist was very, very emotional, and
what was the river like?
It was cold.
Dark? I'm an artist. You're not. You've been in art. Is it dark? Can't see through it?
Yeah, muddy.
Can't see through it?
It's muddy.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Desert, obviously?
So, it's interesting because, like, where we went was unlike anything I would have ever imagined, because we walked down this little path, where they had this little walkway built. That's weird because you're just out in the middle of nowhere and you're seeing like cats. And I don't know why that just stands out to me so much, but there's cats. And we get out there and there's some steps going down. They have some armed Jordanian military people there. And you can see the river, and then right past the river you can see Israel and the flags. But there's nobody out there.
Yeah.
There's nobody out there on that side. And so we walk down, they have this big basin full of water from the Jordan where they baptize babies. And then we walk down, and there's some little steps that go into the river itself. And I step into the river, And instantly, I mean, within 2 steps, it's up to my nipples. Like I'm
Deep.
pretty deep in it. I'm like, dang, like this is not what I expected.
Yeah.
I'm thinking like, okay,
A gradual. Yeah.
it's gonna like kind of go down, maybe be at my waist. We'll get down on our knees, and I'll get dunked. We didn't have a chaplain or anybody to do it, but my team sergeant Andy Smith. If you ever watch this, thank you for doing that as well.
Good man.
He's out of Winder, Georgia. His brother is the sheriff in Winder, Georgia. So, he may or may not see this. They're pretty local, but
maybe one day. You never know.
Yeah,
You have no idea.
I'll tag him in it.
That's awesome.
I'll tag him in it, and so yeah, he baptized me, and I remember vividly, just how surreal it was, because Andy looks at me and. Me and him neither really knew like what to say or do, because it was just so non-traditional.
Yeah.
And the fact that they had, like the guy that like walked us down there, he says, "Hey, like, are you gonna wear the traditional white clothing?" And it's like, no, like we're Southern Baptists, Our God doesn't require that.
Ain't all whites around here.
Yeah, it's like, unconventional is how we gonna do it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. So he's like, yeah, man. He's like, do you accept Jesus Christ in your life? And, this and that. And I was like, yeah, I do. He's like, do you promise to follow him till the day you die? And I said, till the end of my life. And then he just grabbed me, dumped me down, pulled me back up, and I just remember, I'm like, I hit that water, I'm like, ooh, it's cold,
Right.
And I come back up, super refreshing. And there was, like, up on the steps, like, the multitude of people that were there, because I was the first one to do it. And just kind of looking at me. And it was
surreal, man.
It was an experience.
I can imagine.
Because before that, I had been baptized, and I had been saved when I was 12, 14.
Same as me. I was 14. I was 14 years old.
On a mission trip down to Panama City Beach.
Hey.
With Woodlawn. And, so I had a lot of, from that time of my life up until then, like I've lived pretty wild. Done some pretty erroneous shit, as far as.
I don't imagine. I mean, all right. So if we want to get biblical real quick while we're talking about it. There is not a single person.
I don't mind.
Yeah, there's not a single person who exists in the Bible that didn't have one of those type of backstories: murderer, liar, thief, tax guy, whatever the case may be. So I don't reprimand people that have lived life after coming to know Christ, because again, I do expect you as a Christian, as me. I hold my own standard to this, so I don't say I expect you. I expect myself to hold some standard of like goodwill, and we should try to be Christ-like. That's what we're called to do,
Yeah.
But in being that, we're not called to be lawmen of faith. Like, we ain't supposed to be walking around being like, you going to prison and hell for this. Like, you better get your life right, because if you don't, this is going to be the end of... I just don't feel like that's what Jesus would do. Like, even on... As touchy as this topic may be, like, right now, and I feel like it's more of a distraction than anything, but the whole transgender thing with Bud Light that we're having to go through right now in this country.
Oh, man.
I'm not a big fan of it. I wish it wasn't such a main topic, but it's a divisive thing. It's only intended to put a wedge between us and whatever neighbor that you have that may think differently, and it's stupid.
And I'm going to make a joke about it, and I don't care how insensitive it is, but I'm pretty sure it was gay to drink Bud Light before a transgender on there. I drank my share of Bud Light back in my early 20s, doing
this is a military man speaking, okay?
But if we look at it now, like, come on, you guys, we're all adults now. I'm going to be 32 in July. If you're still drinking Bud Light in 2023, just stop. Just stop. Come on. At least go to Miller Lite. If I was going to drink,
I'm a Yingling
guy.
Beer, I'm a Yingling guy.
I can get down with Yingling. But I told you before this started.
You're not a beer guy.
I'm not a beer guy.
I'm transitioning. I'm a tequila man, if I'm honest. I love tequila.
I passed out at a bar on tequila, and ever since that night,
I held off on the tequilas.
tequila it's wild. What's that country song? Tequila makes her clothes fall off. But it's like, I don't know, tequila be making me like take my clothes off and I get wild and passed out, and it's just...
So it works on you the same way.
It's just, it's not a good time. Yeah. You know, I mean, I'm just trying to save people that are around me, you know,
You're being a good Samaritan.
Yeah.
You're drinking whiskey and enjoying yourself.
I drink whiskey and, you know, smoke a cigar, and that's what we should have had.
Dude, I didn't think about it. That's why I asked before you guys. I was like, you want anything?
Part 2.
Part 2, we're going to have a cigar.
Part 2.
We're doing that.
Because you ain't even heard half of
Well, I'm
anything.
glad that you had... First off, I know you said that you got baptized when you were younger. The second time around in the Jordan, was it more significant? Did it mean anything more to you as far as in that moment, you making these decisions than it did when you were younger? Because I know in my own life when I was a child, I made these decisions and I chose to follow a religion. But even in my, especially older high school and then college years, I had a bunch of questions and doubts when it came to my faith because I had friends that didn't have the same faith. And I was like, how do I condemn these people? They're good people. They have good morals and values. They follow basically the same morals that I do. It's just not based off the same faith patterns that I do.
I have friends that are non-believers.
Same. Like, I'm not trying, again, I try to live the way I intend to live and be good to people, and then through that, whatever happens. Like, they see what my faith is through the way I live, not because I'm sitting there being like, Jesus is the way and you should get it right here, right now, please. Yeah. But I think there is a time and place for that too. Yeah, like, you should make it known if you can.
So when I was younger, it felt right.
Yeah.
Because I grew up doing
society,
that.
I get it.
It
100%.
felt right. And then living the life that I've lived from that age up until, earlier this year when I did get baptized again, I've had some conversations with some of my leadership in the military, just throughout, and as interesting as it is, the most, I guess, crucial or beneficial conversation that I had was with a captain when we was in Indiana before we left last year. And we was going out to the range. I was gonna do some gun runs with some A-10s. I don't know if you know A-10.
It's like
it's like one of the oldest aircrafts, like in the Air Force.
It's not a Warhawk, is it?
Yeah, built around a 40 Mike cannon, and they burnt. So if any of y'all know, like yeah, they shoot depleted uranium. They're called tank busters.
Depleted uranium's what they shoot?
Yes,
dude. I did not know that. See, I'm thinking lead. I'm just a civilian, bro.
Just cancer.
They shoot cancer.
They shoot cancer. That cancer kills tanks.
I've never heard that. That's pretty good.
So we're going out there, and I notice a sticker. I notice like a sticker that he has on his vehicle, and I'm like, hey sir, you mind like talking to me about this? Like, what is this? And this is like, this group or whatever that we started, blah blah blah. We start talking about, just God and faith and religion and everything. I said, so I have a question. I was like, I've done so much from the time I was saved when I was 12 up until now. And when I say so much, I'm talking like
a lot.
Drugs, drinking, infidelity, you name it. I've experienced it, And I said like, is there a way, or what is the way to become resaved? Or he's like, my brother, he's like, all you got to do is repent, and if you can do that,
once you are a child, you are always a child.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, at that time, like, there's no way. And I was like, it can't be this easy.
It's a real weird experience.
I said, there ain't no way. I said, because the shit that I've done, And the shit
Ain't
that
no
I
coming
seen,
back from.
I was like, ain't no way. And so yeah, we had that conversation, and then I know when we got over to the Middle East to UAE, which UAE is the United Arab Emirates. If anybody doesn't know,
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't harp on that acronym.
Most people will recognize the country from this capital city, Abu Dhabi, or Dubai. Dubai being probably the most predominant.
Dubai is what I would know.
The Burj Khalifa, fast cars, Emirati princes, and
is the Burj Khalifa the big building?
The tallest in the world.
Okay, just wanted to make sure I was.
Yeah.
I knew when you said that, I associated it with that, but I didn't confirm. I didn't know.
Off that motherfucker.
Did you?
Yeah. Just jump off. Hey.
That's awesome, dude.
Full parachute.
That's awesome, dude.
So,
slightly jealous. I understand. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Life, you get to live it.
You up there looking, that shit be swaying. You be like, damn, dog.
The whole building moves?
Oh, dude, like 3 or 4 feet.
It has to. It has to.
Ridiculous, man.
It has to.
Ridiculous amount. So,
God, that's crazy.
Yeah, so, when I find out that we're going to Jordan and that we'll be able to, we were afforded about 3 or 4 days of cultural leave while we're in that country teaching the Jordanian military up on the Syrian border, like border security, because, and I don't think this is violating OPSEC, and if it is, I don't fucking care. But when they have all their drug smuggling coming in from Syria, and at all these coffee shops and stuff is where they'll like sell their drugs or stuff.
So it's like a layover where they drop the drugs.
Yeah,
people come in and be like, I need coffee and a half ounce.
Yeah, drug smuggling and not so much as like gun running or like terrorist organizations, but that's just kind of like the main.
That's how drugs get in the country.
Way.
Yeah. Kind of like our Mexican border, I guess, would be the association.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't want to make a bad association there.
So a lot of the guys on our team, we'd work border security, and over six of us in total on the team were prior law enforcement or our current law enforcement, and have worked counter drug missions and stuff like that. So I mean, we had a really good understanding. And the battalion commander, Lieutenant Colonel Post, he was a 22-year Special Forces veteran. Green Beret.
Gang.
He found that out, and I mean, Colonel Post, if you see this, I love you to death. I really enjoyed our conversations that we had. Hopefully, we'll make it out to Texas for the ball here in June or whenever. I'm gonna find a date to bring, and we're gonna tear it up. But,
that'd be a good time.
Yeah. So, yeah, he found that out, and he was like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "I gotta get y'all like on this mission."
Yep.
So we got out there and did it, but. The other days we weren't doing that. Yeah, went to the Jordan River, and that's where I knew. I was like, there's no way that this just happened by chance, because even before I deployed, with all the personal stuff that happened in my life last year, I was like, there's no way that this just happened by chance.
Yeah.
I was like, God led me to do this strategically.
Yeah.
And I did. And it has changed my life for the better, because I was quite the adrenaline junkie and quite, the adventure seeker, but now, like, with my 2 kids and then getting back, and it's like, okay, time to
You've gotten a reality check almost, like you're appreciative more of the things that you have.
Yeah, I mean, because there was even times when I was in law enforcement here, even in Newark County, being in high-speed chases.
Just get after it.
Just getting after it and like chasing a dude on foot, where I could have died. Like
the craziest thing you've said to me
today.
I was
a rookie.
The craziest thing you've said to me today is you've seen more while doing police enforcement here in our county in a short amount of time than you had in a 9-month period in a war zone torn country that I'd known from my childhood. Like, that is the craziest thing you've said to me today, and it's true. Because it's a life you've lived. It's things you've understood and the things you've experienced yourself. But for me, never would have imagined that would be a truth.
I've seen 2 people die in war, in combat. Both of them were Afghan nationals. In a 9-month period. One of them was Afghan national police commander, and the other was Afghan National Army commander, the 203rd A&A Corps at FOB Lightning, or AP Lightning, essentially what it was when we left.
Yeah.
Advising platform. He was born and raised Afghanistan. He was trained in Virginia, United States, had family. Went out on a mission with Charlie Company. They were doing a KLE, which stands for Key Leader Engagement. They fly into the HLZ helicopter landing zone. They land. There's like a 2-3 story building over here to their 3 o'clock, which like the way we describe direction.
Yeah.
3 o'clock to their, that'd be like east, depending on like really where you're at. They were setting up machine guns into the HLZ, donning body armor, putting on their helmets, and we didn't think nothing of it. We're like, oh man, like these motherfuckers are squared away.
They're actually ready.
They are fucking ready to pull security because we're flying in. The Americans were coming to do a key leader engagement with one of their commanders.
Right.
because we was doing a lot of SUREs at the time, a lot of peacekeeping meetings. We was, believe it or not, dealing
trying to make it better
money to the Taliban. We had Taliban coming onto our base, and they were leaving with fat checks to not fuck with us.
Interesting.
So we conduct our meeting. As we're leaving, you know, they open up, and the next thing you know, there's just one guy falls down and on the ground. You know, he got struck right here in his chest.
Mm-hmm.
The bullet exited his lower back. Was dead.
Oh, so we right through everything.
Yeah, went right through. Didn't miss his body armor by half an inch. If it would have been any different, maybe he would have been alive. But you know, he came through the ECP that morning. I shook his hand and, you know, told him we said like good luck on our mission, and they went through. When we come back through and we're taking him in a fucking body bag.
Right.
And he's
Same guy.
Here he is, wife, 4 kids, you know, spoke English, and so like that happens. But then in law enforcement here in Elbert County, in just the like I said, like the year and a half, it was more. I went to more death calls, and just visually was exposed to more than I was like in a combat zone.
That's crazy.
Because like the weird thing about being in combat or like in a combat zone is like the planning that's involved.
Right.
Because it's not like Call of Duty where you're like,
you got a map and
in this
this
game lobby, and they're like, oh yeah, like this is your mission, go do this.
Right.
It's like, well, before you ever get to that mission, it takes maybe a month or two
of gathering
of
intel,
planning, of people being on the ground collecting information, because it's not intelligence until that it's information gathered.
Yeah.
Information is gathered for weeks and weeks and weeks, and then that information is passed on to the S2, which is your intelligence piece, and then they take that information and turn it into
like workable
intelligence.
Info.
But this is actual intelligence. So like patterns of life, like what does this guy do every day at 8 o'clock? He wakes up, he gets in his vehicle, he leaves, and he goes south on this road, whatever. That becomes a pattern of life. So that's what he does. Where's he driving to? He drives to this location, he does this, and he's here for this amount of time, and then he leaves. So you're learning that stuff over that time, and all that mission planning
based
becomes
off
critical.
of the consistent behaviors of the humans that exist in the environment that you got to execute this mission.
Yeah.
Wild.
Yeah. In law enforcement, it's you get a call and you respond to it, and whatever that incident was just happened.
Yeah, you got recent intel, and that's all you
15
got.
minutes prior, you know, and then you pretty much, you or your backup or whoever, if you're there by yourself until backup gets there, like you better have good people person skills, talking
That's
and
crazy.
solving problems, because they might be hyped up, you know, on
Get ready to kill somebody.
on some dope, like meth is pretty wild, and
God, dude.
yeah,
I couldn't imagine.
it gets
Having to
wild.
enter that every day. Well, every day. Well, depending on the calls
Yeah.
and when, but possibly every
Yeah.
day.
So, and it's like I told you, even off camera, the reason I got into law enforcement was to understand the complexities of law enforcement and like the decision making processes that these men and women have to go through on these calls, whether they be, whether it be something simple or something intricate. Okay, let's take for example, like I think we can talk about one of my chases. It was my first car chase and foot chase in the same day. The way it happened was, and I don't mean to call anybody out, but I'm just gonna give the facts like it was, because I love everybody at the office to death, as if they were my brother, just like they were in the military. But the night prior, I had a buddy of mine who I deployed with to Afghanistan. Mm-hmm. We were 2 months into our deployment, and his daughter died. Mm-hmm. She had epilepsy and Dravet syndrome. My wife, at the time, was down there with his wife, did CPR on her, and she was gone.
That's hard.
So he left anyways. Fast forward, he, coming back, he had gotten experienced a couple DUIs and stuff, and they were going through some pretty substantial stuff together. And this night in particular, he was coming up to see me because of something she had tried to do the night prior. And he didn't have license. I knew he didn't. I knew he was driving on suspended. But I didn't care because, when we're talking about brothers in arms like that, it doesn't matter.
Help him out.
I know what it was for, and I didn't care.
Yeah.
Even as law enforcement. So he got stopped in Wilkes County, and the officer arrested him, took him to jail, and I'm going to call him out too, not by name, but this officer had served in the same brigade that me and this man had served in a couple years prior in the 48th Brigade, here, the Premier Infantry Brigade in Georgia. Had similar instances happen to him when he was in Iraq and his daughter died. Still took this man to jail because he was driving on a suspended license.
No empathy.
He wasn't drunk. He had been sober for 6-7 months by this time. So I went and bailed him out. I didn't get him out until about 5 o'clock that morning, and I had to start my shift at 6. So I called my my assistant supervisor at the time, which I'm not going to name.
You don't have to. We're all local.
He knows who he is. And I said, hey man, I need some rest. I need some rest before I come into work and before I drive this car for 12 hours. Safety concern. It's just a thing that I've learned and picked up being in the military for so long, because you can only do so much operations on
before your brain shuts
such
down.
such little sleep.
I've done that to myself.
I had worked the day prior. I had been up all night. I needed a couple hours before I come in. He didn't like that. He went to the chief deputy. He went to the sheriff, told him to maybe reevaluate hiring me. I understand. He might have been in a predicament. He didn't want to
Call somebody else in?
He didn't want to put his position in jeopardy because of what I did or had done
or was doing, whatever the case. Yeah.
He's done. He maybe didn't.
He
know.
was fielding the call.
He maybe didn't know. So, anyways, I went into work, but I get about 4 hours into my shift because I went in. It was about 6:37, and by 11, we get a bolo. Look out for a red truck, Ford Ranger with rims. I was like, cool. I'm in code B at the time. I said, what are my chances? I said, because if this guy's coming from Madison County, he's going to be coming down Washington Highway.
Right.
Shit attracts to Elbert County for some reason. And I was like, well, I guess I'll go up, Athens Highway and test my luck.
And wait.
I'm driving up Athens Highway. I'm almost to, the county border. Right there at, what is it? Not Stinchcombe. Is it Stinchcombe?
Stinchcombe is beyond. There's another road just beyond that. I can't remember the name of it myself, but I know where you're talking about. Right where the Broad River,
yeah,
where they gather sand and shit.
I'm getting to the peak of that hill. Red Ford Ranger, blue lights, following behind it. 34 Central. Hey, I'm gonna be en route with this 1080.
Got him.
Headed towards Elbert County. Radio silence. I continue to give them location updates the whole way, and we go into town. As we get into town, we spike strip the guy at the Bowman County Bridge, or Bowman Highway Bridge. He gets spike stripped, and then he turns right there at Pro Fitness.
Yep.
Turns right there, cuts right. Goes down towards the granite sheds. He spins gravel, rocks, and dirt up on my windshield, busts my windshield, and I can't see. So I'm like trying to clean my windshield, And we drive through Central and Dixie Granite. He jumps out of his truck, runs. I'm chasing him through both the granite sheds. Run across the street. We get through the woods right there at that old train depot.
Yep.
He hits a fence. And he turns around, and as this time I'm pulling my taser out, Alan Frady, who's one of the investigators, he's like, "You got eyes on him?" I was like, "Yep." He's like, "Tase him." Boom, tased him. He jumps on top of him. We arrest him. Whatever. I mean, he committed 7 felonies
in a span of maybe 20 minutes.
Yeah, from the time that he decided to beat his girlfriend and steal this truck in Madison County and come to Elbert County. So. I look at instances like that and then compare it to what I've done in the military.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I'm like, wow, because I'm not saying that a rookie could or could not have operated at such a high level. The fastest I was going at one point on Athens Highway in a Crown Vic was 123 miles an hour.
That's pretty speedy there, bud.
123. We went by Imperial going 98.
Now, that's pretty speedy there, bud.
Yes.
And you were radioing in as you were doing this, so you're multitasking.
Radioing in.
Driving.
Thinking.
Keeping eyes on the guy.
Midday. This is 11:15 in the afternoon.
Wow.
This is not, it's not nighttime. It's not, this is during the week.
Yeah. There's traffic.
This is like a Tuesday. This is like a Tuesday or Wednesday. This is like some ridiculous time, And I'm just, here I am, just casually doing my thing. What really trips me out is after all that happened, we bring him out. He's arrested. Transport him. GSP offered me a job on the spot. And Alan Frady was like, the investigator, he was like, because I asked, I was like, do you want a job? And I'm looking down at my chest, at my star. I'm like, man, I'm good.
You're kind of busy. Yeah.
I'm good, man. I got one, and I'm like I said, I'm brand loyal. And they was like, well, you could have ended that chase, on Athens Highway. We could have hit him if you'd have been working for us. And I was like, yeah, but I didn't have to.
Yeah.
I was like, what if I'd have pitted him? He would have died.
And then it would have been on you.
I mean, even though that's deadly force and it's warranted,
yeah,
laws just, I'd rather the man live.
Yeah.
I'd rather the man live.
I get that.
And so.
It's probably a good human trait of yours.
Yeah. I'm all about preserving life if I can, and helping people. Like I said, that's the whole reason I joined law enforcement, was to understand that the complexity of like decision makings that they had to do in like split seconds.
Yeah.
And from what I've had to learn in the military and the decision making process in that time, like in combat, and how it translates to that, and merge them together. So it worked out great. You know,
you got a good background.
Needless
leading
to say,
to what you're trying to get into.
Needless to say, you know, the assistant supervisor, that shift that I was on, and the supervisor didn't have shit to say to me after that.
You got the job done, right?
Yeah. Sheriff gave me a pat on the back.
Handled.
Melvin Andrews, you're the man. Here's to another 4.
Working at it.
So
good stuff, man. Just so I know I have this, is there any information that you can impart to our little community of all the shit that you've done and been into? And it doesn't have to be, I do this with every one of my guests. This is kind of like my closing thing. I want you to impart a lesson that you've learned. And it doesn't matter if it's small, large. If it's Sarah's was, you know, she had a game plan going through college. She had these itinerary of shit she was going to get done, and then she realized that fell apart halfway through, and then she ended up happy. Anyway, it's kind of my own situation. But something that just you've learned through your travels that either to you or could help somebody in our community in some way, shape, or form.
Ooh.
And you can take a moment. It's all good. I'm going to sip this whiskey. I'm going to sit here and think about it. It's all good.
Let's cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
So, I learned a lot. And I guess the most important lesson I've learned is patience.
That's a good one. You got to learn patience, my friend.
Patience, as we all know, is a virtue. And although I knew patience, you know, or have patience and knew, you know, like for things for the right time for them to come, I still was in a rush to get somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
I always looked at people who I went to school with and based my
self-worth?
Not self-worth. I based my success off of theirs.
I get that.
Like I look at somebody and I'm like, that I went to high school with, and they bought a house before me, and they had a family before me, and they quote unquote became what we would consider successful, or
yes,
you know, living the American dream. And I'm like, you know, just like, damn, man, like here I am 32 years old now. I don't have my own house. Like I live in my grandma's house. I've been remodeling it since 2019, since I got back from Afghanistan. You know, I have bought some property since I've been gone, you know, and got some things in the works for the future. But, you know, even like my best friend, Shane Evans.
Yep.
He was the first out of like all of our friends to like buy his own house and to like get his own cars and to like, man, Shane, you be rocking it. So
set yourself up, brother.
Don't ever cut yourself short. So, you know, I look at that and I think like, damn, man, you know, but when I really look at it, I think, okay, I am here now. I'm healthier than I was at this time last year.
Mm-hmm.
My kids are healthy. My kids are happy. You know,
the important stuff.
I don't need to live in a $500,000 house or a, you know, whatever. You know, I got what I got and my kids are happy and I got a job and I'm thankful for and I fucking love it and I'm going to continue to live and just become a better person and be a better person for anybody that I encounter.
I dig that shit, bro.
Because
that's 100%. Like that's a quote. If you want to talk about a shirt, that's a shirt.
Yeah,
that's a shirt right there.
Hey, support it.
We're gonna make
therapy, Chaz Bray.
Look, I'm doing my best. I appreciate you coming out and hanging out with me, man. We'll probably finish these drinks and hang out for a little bit after the podcast.
Yep.
But I wanted to ask you something like that.
Part
Patience.
2 coming.
Yeah, we're going to do this again. There's so much that I want to talk to you about because I know there's a lot of travels you've gotten into that I want to ask you about. And there's a lot of life lessons within those that we could chat about, I'm sure. But for this moment, this has been whatever episode of Social Therapy it's been. I'm Chaz Bray. This is Zach Truella Smith.
I want to say this is 7. I've been keeping count.
Is it 7?
I think so.
I feel like it.
You did 1 with your mama, or 1 with your brother, 3 with your mama.
I think we did 4, Mom. 1, 2, 3.
4.
We might have done 4, Mom.
4, Mom.
We might be 9 now.
And then what's her name?
Sarah. I got
Sarah.
Andy coming out. Andy's coming out soon. I got Joey Morgan. No, Andy came out. Joey Morgan's coming out. You're coming out. He hasn't come. I just
saw the picture.
Yes. His episode comes out Monday or Tuesday, and then your episode's going to come out Monday or Tuesday the following week.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, and we're going to do this again. Are you back in town officially?
Not forever.
Hey.
Yeah, not forever. But yeah, like I said,
you're here for a while.
I'm going back to work with Brian Jensen. So,
awesome.
And I know that's a competition.
Look, dude. No. All right, so here's a moment for the granite industry.
Mm-hmm.
There's more work to be done in our industry than there are people doing it in every facet, in every single facet. So this pissing contest that we have going on with the granite industry is so stupid with me.
Brian, I come back because I left Brian in 2021, whatever it was, when I joined the sheriff's office. The man treated me so great while I was there, and you know, after all of what happened last year that we spoke about, and you know, I told him I wanted to come back.
Yeah.
And he had given me offers to like go and work for other granite company, and I told you I'm brand loyal.
Yeah, dude.
I'm brand loyal. I was like,
nah, bro.
I said I'm gonna only work for you.
That's good stuff.
And I'm gonna
man.
only work for Elbert County.
That's good stuff.
So, you know, I come back and he gave me an offer that I could not resist, and I was like, dude, I'm so pumped. I'm so pumped to like get back, because if we look at it, like the low stress that comes when it comes to like taking a razor blade and scraping it and then painting it and loading it up on the machine or running diagnostics on the Yellow
You're
Star,
speaking my language now. You're speaking my language now.
Sitting there,
these are the things I know.
Sitting there listening to music with Davey, you know, and the all of us that work like in that shit together. Dude,
it's a good environment.
It's phenomenal, you know. And I learned Photoshop while I was deployed, because I was like, well, I got some time.
Figure some stuff out.
Might as well learn this, because then I can then be more benefit to the company when I get back.
How about that,
you
bro?
know? And I just did the whole like, downloaded it, bought it, was paid for it for a whole year, went through all the tutorials, started taking pictures and just messing with it.
I'm proud of you, dude.
Yeah.
Like, again, from high school through the streets of Athens to your world travels and where you are now, we're going to do this again.
Yeah. All I know is wearing uniforms and being a good person.
Zach Smith.
So,
I appreciate you, brother.
yes. Cheers.
Cheers, ladies and gentlemen. That was another episode of Social Therapy. I love you guys. I hope you're having a wonderful day wherever this finds you. And we'll see you next time. Peace and love.
Peace and love, baby.
Whoop, whoop. That was fun. Woo. That shit was hot. Appreciate it, man. I like playing music. It's one of my favorite things to do.